AIT for ruining family therapy? I still remember the day my life changed forever. I was only 7 years old when my mom died. Her absence left a void so deep that I didn't think it would ever be filled. A year later, my dad remarried. He claimed that his new wife, who already had 3 kids, I8M, B, 6M, and C3F, needed a father for her children, just as I needed a mother. But I knew then what I know now. I didn't want a new mom. I told him as much, but he assured me I'd understand in time. Fast forward 11 years, and I'm still grappling with the consequences of his decision. From the moment he remarried, our once inseparable bond began to dissolve. The backyard camping nights and our cherished movie nights, activities we had done weekly for years, ceased to exist. He dedicated all his time to his new family, leaving me behind with the excuse of bonding with them. High school came and went with him, rarely in attendance at my games or meets. He missed countless swim meets, basketball games, and speech competitions. Instead, he was always there for A's and B's practices or C's dance recitals. It was as if I had become invisible to him. His new wife and I never saw eye to eye either. While I was immersed in sports and speech, she preferred shopping sprees and girly activities. Despite knowing my disinterest, she would still tell my dad she invited me to these outings, creating a facade of inclusion. In the midst of this, I found solace in my teammate and her family. They became my second family, attending my swim meets, inviting me to holiday celebrations, and even making me feel included during senior night at basketball. When my dad didn't show up, her dad stepped in, walking me around the court. This gesture, which made the local paper for its sweetness, was the last straw for my dad. Enraged, he dragged us all to therapy. In therapy, the truth came out. My dad asked why I hadn't asked him to walk me. I told him it was because he never attended my games. Shockingly, he admitted he didn't even know I still played basketball. This revelation opened the floodgates. I questioned why he didn't attend my swim or softball events, but never missed A's and B's practices. He admitted he didn't know I still participated in those activities. When I mentioned my senior trip to Mexico, he didn't remember signing the permission slip, confessing he hadn't even read it. The final blow came when I asked if he remembered the last time I called him Dad. He didn't. I told him it was May 13, 2021, the day a B and C officially entered our lives. From that moment on, he had stopped being my dad and became theirs. I walked out of therapy, feeling more alone than ever. Despite playing sports since I was a toddler, my dad had never inquired about my after-school activities. He assumed I was just hanging out with friends. The stark reality was that my friends' parents had become my surrogate family. After therapy, things deteriorated further. My dad and his new family forbade me from seeing my second family, claiming they were a bad influence. This left me furious, especially since I had to miss practices for therapy sessions. My step-siblings, to their credit, sided with me, mad at their parents for the turmoil caused. I began looking into my trust fund and the belongings it paid for, seeking some semblance of control over my life. My friend's dad even confronted mine about why I couldn't visit them anymore, but the door was shut in his face. I stayed in touch with my friend and her parents daily, finding comfort in their unwavering support. Deep down, I knew I would be happier going no contact with my dad and his new family, focusing on the family I had built for myself over the past few years. When I told my dad I felt like I had lost my family, he cried, claiming to understand. But his understanding quickly turned to anger when I clarified that I missed the family I had found, not him. In the end, I was left navigating a fractured relationship with my father, clinging to the hope that I could move forward and find peace with the family I chose for myself. Relevant comments. Trickster 89. How does he not know she still does sports? OP. I paid for the sports registration and equipment out of the trust my mom left me. I just had to go to the bank and write out a request, and the next day I'd pick up the money. He said if I wanted him there, I should have given a schedule. I told him that I don't understand why he would think I would just stop playing all the sports I had played since I was a toddler, and that he didn't get schedules from my step-siblings. He got them himself. Then he just got mad and walked out. Rymos 123. How did her dad not know she went to Mexico? And how did OOP get a passport without a parent? OOP, I had to have the form signed at the beginning of the year for numbers planning for the teacher. I was 17. I got my passport after my birthday before the trip and paid for it out of my mom's trust fund. He knew I went on a trip, but didn't know where to. I'll probably do an update soon. But basically, I'm not allowed to go to my friend's house anymore, because he says her parents are a bad influence. He says I never told him anything about what I did, so he shouldn't be expected to know. His wife says she just wanted a dad for her kids and it isn't her fault, which is true. My step-siblings have been nice, and said they thought he knew about my games, and would be totally okay with him skipping theirs to come to my remaining games. They have been more mad at him than anything else and told him if he can't go to mine, then he doesn't need to go to theirs, and he said they were being brats but they don't care. Update on family therapy. 4 days later. 4 days after my last post, my stepmother SM suggested we all head to the lake house. This lake house is her sanctuary, her answer to everything. If she wants the boys out of the house, she sends my bio father and her sons to the lake house. If she wants time with her daughter, they go to the lake house. Even when she wants time alone, she retreats to the lake house by herself. She does photography there, and I have to admit, it looks like something out of a postcard. It's a 2-story cabin-style house, and while they never took me on the girls' or boys' trips, I only went when everyone went together. Since the last therapy session, my step-siblings have stopped calling my bio father Dad. This caused a major rift. My SM confronted him, saying that if he isn't their dad and she isn't my mom, what's the point of being married? My bio father asked if she wanted a divorce, to which she responded that she didn't sign up for all this drama. Their argument sent us kids hanging out by the lake, and surprisingly, we've been getting along great, united against the parents, which I never saw coming. Yesterday, we returned to therapy, and my stepsister asked if they were getting divorced. My bio father said they wouldn't if they could work things out in therapy. The therapist asked if they could manage an amicable separation, noting the obvious coldness between them. My SM said her kids could still see my bio father, but she would want her place. He told her that wasn't possible because the lake house is actually mine. It belonged to my mom before they married and is part of the prenup. My SM was livid and ugly cried all the way home. The drama didn't end there. Once we got home, my SM asked about the house we live in. My bio father tried to get her out of the kitchen, but she screamed until he admitted that the house we live in was given to my mom by my grandpa as a wedding gift before they married. When I turned 18, the house legally became mine. She then suggested splitting the savings since they had been living way below their means. My bio father revealed that most of the savings and certificates of deposit were accounts set up for me by my mom's parents. Now, my SM has been crying in her room, calling me selfish for not letting her have the lake house my great-grandpa built and gave to my grandpa, who then gave it to my mom. I've been trying to process all this. On one hand, I understand her feelings of betrayal and loss, but on the other hand, these were never her properties to begin with. They were always meant for me, a legacy from my mom's side of the family. My step-siblings have been surprisingly supportive. They see through their mother's manipulations and are mad at their parents for causing such upheaval in our lives. They've been spending more time with me, and it's been nice to feel like I'm not alone in this. Meanwhile, I've been looking into the trust fund and belongings paid for by it, trying to gain some control over my life. My friend's dad even tried confronting my bio father about why I can't visit their house anymore, but my bio father just shut the door on him. I check in daily with my friend and her parents via phone, and their support has been a lifeline. As for my bio father, our relationship is strained, to say the least. He's caught between his wife and his duty to me, and it's clear he doesn't know how to handle the situation. When I told him I felt like I lost my family, he cried and said he understood, but then got mad when I clarified that I missed the family I had built with my friends, not him. I'm considering going no contact with my bio father and his new family once I'm able to move out. It's clear that our relationship has been damaged beyond repair, and I need to prioritize my own well-being. The family I found in my friends has been more supportive and loving than my bio father and SM have ever been. This whole situation has been a roller coaster of emotions, but I'm slowly finding my footing. I know it will take time to heal and move forward, but I'm hopeful that one day, I'll find peace and happiness with the family I chose for myself. Relevant comments. Wild black hat, what in the world? So she never put a cent towards those, and somehow never asked herself in all those years how the assets would be split in the event of a divorce. OP, I doubt she ever thought about divorce until last week. Everything kind of exploded. Since they don't have a prenup, she probably thought she got half of everything.